Good afternoon. This is Amber Sullivan with the Financial Brand. I want to thank everyone for joining us today for this webinar from Silvertech and the Financial Brand, the crawl, walk, fly approach to CX like the big brands. Before we get started, we'd like to let everyone know that the recording of this webinar will be available shortly after the webinar has concluded. If you have questions, you have a questions panel on your dashboard to the right. We'll get to as many as we can in the live session. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Derek Barca, Chief Technology Officer at Silvertech. Derek, I'll let you take it from here.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Amber. Hey, everyone, and welcome to the crawl, walk, fly approach to customer experience like the big brands. As Amber mentioned, my name is Derek Barca. I'm the CTO of Silvertech. And before we get started, we want to do a quick poll to really understand kind of, obviously in the current times, where everyone is with their marketing during the pandemic, really get a feel for how it's affecting your marketing, where you're spending your dollars and things like that, and kind of set the stage a little bit for today. All right, cool. Seeing the results, and that's pretty consistent with what we're seeing with our clients, and really speaks to kind of what we're going to talk about today when we're talking about digital experiences. I think if anything, the current times and the COVID-19 pandemic has really made digital experiences that much more important. With all of us kind of quarantined at home, a lot of our interactions with each other and with different brands are over digital channels, and really emphasizes why that's important. So let's jump into it. First off, again, to kind of set the stage, a little bit of background on Silvertech and who we are. We are a digital marketing and technology agency headquartered out of Manchester, New Hampshire. We also have an office in Indianapolis. And we do everything from SEO, SEM, paid media, and campaign support for our clients through website design development, custom application development, mobile development, and hosting for all the websites and applications we build. We also have a full creative team in-house who excels in both creative ad design, as well as obviously creating great digital experiences online. And our niche is really connecting all these disciplines with a solid understanding of data and analytical insights to create seamless, personalized, and tailored experiences across all the digital touch points. And that's really what we're going to talk about today. What do we mean when we talk about customer experiences? And then how do we go about implementing an approach that's going to get us to where we want to be? But before we get there, let's rewind about 13 years, ironically enough, to the time of that last economic downturn. The iPhone was unveiled in 2007. And believe it or not, high schoolers in 2007 are now in their late 20s and early 30s, and they're getting married, they're having children, they're buying cars and homes, they're starting companies, running corporations, and they've had this device in their hand as long as they can remember, and they've probably never stepped foot in a branch. And if they have, it's only been a handful of times. And these are your customers today, and they don't know a professional life without this device in their hand, and it's really changed their expectations of brands forever. And the top brands understand this and have adapted. When you think about top of the line customer experiences, you think almost immediately of brands like Netflix and Amazon and Spotify and Uber, because these brands understand what consumers want. It's about a seamless, frictionless customer experience that is personalized and tailored to each individual in that moment, in that time. And you might be thinking, I'm a small bank in Georgia, or I'm a credit union in Kansas, and this doesn't really matter to me. I'm not Netflix. I'm not Amazon. And my counter argument to that a lot of the time is sure, you're not Amazon, but your customers are Amazon customers, your customers are Netflix customers, and your customers' best experience somewhere is now their expectation everywhere. And if you're not meeting that expectation, if you're not providing them that experience that they've come accustomed to, then they're probably going to go and start to look elsewhere. So what does that mean? How do we get there? When we look at creating these experiences that rival these top brands, obviously all of us don't have the budgets of an Amazon or even a Bank of America for that matter, but that doesn't mean we just give up and we don't start anywhere. Optimizing your customer's digital experience is a journey in of itself, and we have to start somewhere to get where we want to go. We know what the top of that mountain looks like, but how do we get there? And we really break it down into 4 or 5 different steps. And in financial services specifically, we typically identify these steps as, we need to first be modern and relevant, and then we can be engaging and frictionless. And then once we're at that point, we've kind of earned the right to be personalized and predictive and do one-to-one banking before, getting to that pinnacle of digital experience today, which is conversational banking and doing things like Bank of America with their Erica chatbot and things like that. But before we even get there, there's many steps we have to take on that journey of ours. And that's what we're going to go through today, is what each of these steps look like and what we can do to kind of reach them. And when talking about that journey to a better digital experience, it's not just about the tactical steps we want to take to get there, which we're going to talk about, but it's also how we think about this journey. As marketers, as technologists, as leaders of digital innovation within our organizations, how do we approach this journey to really transform our organization and provide that better digital experience that all of our customers have come to expect? And Forrester has really laid out 4 rules that I think really applies well to how we should be thinking about these types of things as we take each step in that journey. And that first rule is digital experiences. Deliver easy, effective, and emotional customer experiences. And I think that one is pretty straightforward. I don't think we have to dive into what that means. The second one is digital operations. Focus operations on things customers value. And I think this one's a little bit different than how we typically think about transforming, operations. I think a lot of times when we think about that, we're thinking about, internal operations. How do I go about, using technology to cut costs? How do I find efficiencies? How do I increase margins? But what Forrester's saying here is, no, flip it around. Think about outside in. What operations are important to your customers, and how do we affect those? And then that leads into their third rule, digital innovation. Innovate at that intersection of experience and operations. So look at the operations that matter to your customers and look at the experience that they want or have today, and that's where we innovate. And when I think about a good example of this in the financial services industry, PayPal came to mind at first, and not PayPal of today, but PayPal of 1999 when they first came around. And if you go back to 1999, it was obviously a much different world. When you looked at e-commerce, really the big player back then was eBay. They were doing a lot of the online transactions, but the customer experience was terrible for both buyers and sellers. If I wanted to purchase something, I'd go on eBay, I would bid on it. If I was the winning bidder, the seller would email me and tell me to send, a check or a money order to an address. I'd fill it out, I'd send it. A couple of weeks would go by, they'd get it, they'd cash it, and then they'd mail me my item. It really wasn't a good experience. It wasn't an efficient experience. So PayPal looked at that and said, looking at that intersection, how do we do better here? How do we innovate? And all they really did was become that middleman, say, hey, if you register with us, we can process EFTs, we can process credit cards, and it's going to take a process that was, a couple of weeks to close a transaction, and we can make it, a day. And that really revolutionized, online commerce as we knew it back then, and really opened up commerce to the masses. At that point, mom and pop stores could start selling online and really have a good customer experience where before they couldn't. And then obviously PayPal didn't stop there, that they kept innovating and innovating until they are where they are today, which is almost a full-blown, fintech processing, billions of dollars of transactions, every year. And that kind of leads into the fourth rule of digital ecosystems, and that's build platforms and partnerships to accelerate and scale. And this one's important because there's a real need to have speed and agility when you're delivering customer experiences. Gone are the days where we could update our website once a year or roll out an app every couple of years. Customers are really expecting constant improvement, and this is especially a problem in financial services because that's not how we're built. If you think about our internal systems, our cores, our our online banking apps and stuff like that, they weren't meant to be agile. They weren't meant to be open. They weren't built with open APIs for building customer experiences on. They were built to be closed on purpose. They were built to be secure. And that's not where we need to be if we want to be able to innovate quickly. So this fourth rule by Forrester really focuses on, okay, we need to pick or build platforms that obviously integrate with those other systems we have, but we have to build new platforms that are going to be based around our customer experiences, and then leverage partnerships where needed to kind of to help us along that journey. But getting back to that journey we're on, like I said, it's a hike to the top, but we need to start somewhere. And first and foremost, we need to start with our website, and the website needs to be modern and relevant. And what does that mean? When I talk about modern and relevant experiences, I like to use an example that one of my designer colleagues brought up once, and I liked it so much I've used it a couple of times now. And that is, if your house was a brand, the kitchen would be the website. It's kind of the face of your home. It's the meeting space when people come over. It is kind of the customer experience of your home. And this kitchen functions at a bare bones level for what it needs to do. It has cupboards for storing food. It has a refrigerator for my perishables. I can cook food. But when it comes to a functional customer experience, it's not quite there. Especially if I had a disability, if I was in a wheelchair or had a walker or something, I'm gonna have trouble getting in between those cabinets and reaching what I want to do. If I have a number of people over, it's gonna be hard to interact just with the way it's laid out, because it wasn't designed with functionality in mind. If you take that same kitchen and give it a dramatic facelift, the first thing you're gonna notice, obviously, is it's much more aesthetically pleasing. It's something you enjoy looking at and being in. And when we think about website redesigns, obviously the first thing is how it looks and feels. You want to look and feel better, but it's more than that. This kitchen was designed with a purpose in mind. It was built with functionality in mind. It's much easier to get around. It's more open to people that might have a wheelchair or a walker. It was designed, as a meeting space. I can be making my kids, their lunches while they're sitting down and having breakfast and having a conversation with me. I can be cooking dinner with my wife and having a conversation. It was built with those types of things in mind, and modern and relevant websites are no different. They're built with a function in mind. If we look at a website that is still all too common today, sure, the site functions at a bare bones level. I can come here and I can log into online banking. I can find new products and services, but it's not open to everyone. If I have eyesight issues, that white and gray is going to be a problem for me. The text over the light blue and gray is going to be a problem for me. If I try and open it on my mobile device, it's obviously not going to work and things like that. So while it's functional, it's not a great customer experience. And that's what we mean when we talk about modern and relevant experiences. It's taking those old, clunky, and slow websites that are hard to use and disorganized, not just from a visual perspective, but from an information architecture perspective as well. Is the content that I want at any given point in time easy to find in the sitemap and things like that? And it's taking that site that is really a liability to organization and difficult to maintain, and obviously making it much better to look at, but more importantly, designed with a purpose and usable, designed with a goal in mind. I'm sure most of us look at our website as our largest and most important branch. It's where we get most of our traffic, and it really needs to be goal achieving. And historically, when we're talking about this from a marketing perspective, it's, how do I use my website to, expand wallet share, get additional products into households and things like that. If the site wasn't designed for that, it's not going to function as well. New websites are also, going back to that fourth rule, platform-based, so that they can be agile. So I can easily spin up new landing pages. So I can customize the homepage and personalize the homepage if I want to. And what we're finding is that's more relevant than ever now. Obviously, marketing is a little bit different today than it was even 2 months ago, but that modern relevant platform is just as important. We've been able to respond quickly to the current pandemic and help our clients quickly spin up microsites, create FAQs, create knowledge bases, send out newsletters, update their branch hours, add alerts, because their sites have been designed on modern and relevant experience platforms that allow for this type of thing. We've even helped, it's not financial services, but we've helped the state of New Hampshire launch an entire online business help portal in a matter of days. They came to us on a Thursday, it was up and live on a Tuesday, to help them communicate proactively with the small business owners in the state, and to also handle the massive influx of inquiries that they're having about different support programs. A lot of the same inquiries you're probably getting. We were able to set up a case management system, so it supports live chat, supports email, supports all those things, and we were able to do it because we were leveraging open platforms that made this type of thing, possible. And that's really what modern and relevant is all about. So once we're there, then we can start talking about, what does it mean to be engaging and frictionless? And when I think about engaging and frictionless, I think about a story about an experience I had. And it was this past fall. This is my daughter. She is a freshman in high school and an avid soccer player. She was very fortunate this fall and made the varsity team as a freshman, which was super cool. One day, I left work early to go to one of her away games. The field happened to be right near my office, and I was walking up to the field as play was starting. She was playing starting striker, which was cool, so I ran over there and started watching. And as I'm watching, I realized there's something wrong with her leg. She has like a bandage on the bottom of it, and now I'm a little concerned. There was nothing wrong with her leg earlier that day, so I wasn't sure if something happened during warm-ups or what it was. But as the game wore on and she eventually got closer to my sideline, I realized exactly what it was, and it was kind of humorous, kind of embarrassing. But she had brought two different socks to the game, one black sock and one white sock. But in order to take the field, she had to have a proper uniform. So she took a white bandage and wrapped it around the black sock. So she effectively had two white socks. So again, I'm proud of her ingenuity, but a little bit embarrassed. So I do what anyone would do. I reach into my pocket, I pull up my phone, and I immediately order, 5 pairs of new white Nike soccer socks. Slide my phone back in my pocket, and before I can think twice about it, they're probably being packaged up and sent to my house. Problem solved, right? And that's when we think about engaging in frictionless experiences, it's that experience. I have a need in the moment, and I can get it done, and there's not a second thought to it. And unfortunately, that's not always the experience we have when dealing with financial services. And that brings me to a second story I have. It was actually this past summer. My wife's friend's car had broken down, and she needed to buy a new one. Fortunately, they both work at the local high school. They're in education, so I had the summer off, and my wife offered to help her get a new car, drive her around so they could find a new car. So they spent a day driving around town, test driving some Jeeps, negotiating, all the stuff you typically do when you're buying a new car. And her friend finally found one she liked, got a new Jeep, and life was good. Except now my wife wants a Jeep. She's had so much fun test driving these Jeeps, she decides she wants one too. So it's nothing too serious. We start, passively shopping around. If we drive by a dealership, maybe we'll pull in and take a look at it. We test drive a couple because we've never driven one before. We're not sure if we like one. Until one morning, I'm at work. It's probably 9 or 10 a.m. in the morning, and my wife calls me and says, "Hey, I found the one. The sales guy's name's Mark. He's expecting to see you at lunchtime to take it for a ride." Great. So now I know how this is going to end. I'm going to be buying a Jeep today. So I start doing what any, I think, normal person would do in this situation. I start shopping for rates. And I end up on this page, and the experience isn't great. I probably took 2 or 3 clicks to get here, and I find rates, but these are the best rates I can find. So I want to apply so I can kind of go to the dealership armed with all the information I need. But it honestly took me probably 20 seconds to find the apply now button, because it's this little tiny blue button that matches everything else. And I don't know if you've ever noticed, but the buy now button on Amazon is half the page in bright orange because they want you to click on it. In this particular case, the apply now button was not half the page, and it was difficult to find, which was my first problem. But I click through and I end up on another landing page, and I swapped out the logos here with one of our sample logos to kind of protect the innocent here. But now I'm growing more frustrated because I took all this time to find your auto loan rates. I click on apply, I end up on another landing page asking me what I want to do. I obviously want to apply for an auto loan. So I suck it up. I click on vehicle loan and I end up on, the application page, where I'm greeted with tons of different information. First of all, again, they ask me the purpose of the loan. They're asking me for the vehicle make and model, information I don't actually have because I haven't actually test drove the car yet. I really just want to get pre-approved so I can go and negotiate and be on my way. And this isn't making it very easy. Also starts asking me about things about gap protection and life insurance when all I really want to do is get an auto loan so I can go buy that car. But I power through because I'm stubborn and I want the best rate. Get to the next page. And again, I have 20 more questions I have to fill out before I can complete this application. And this obviously wasn't a good experience. It's not leaving a good taste in my mouth about this brand. So if I have other business, there's chances are I'm probably not going to bring it here. But the experience doesn't have to be like that. This is the Credit Union of Texas. This happens to actually be one of our clients, but what they've done is really something special when it comes to customer experience around auto loans. When I land on their page, I'm automatically greeted by a clear call to action around an auto loan. It's almost like they knew what I wanted. I want a loan because I'm getting a new car. So okay, I click see my options, land on another landing page with a clear call to action about getting an instant decision, or I can do a little bit more research in the vehicle, find some prices, use their calculator, put in a down payment and figure out what my payment options would be. This is nice, this is easy. If I click contact us, I get 3 very clear options. I can get a decision, I can call a lending specialist if I want to talk to someone if I have questions, or I can fill out a quick form and have them call me back when it's convenient for them. Me, I want that loan immediately, so I'm gonna go ahead and click apply now and get a decision. The application page is super simple and clearly lays out that it's only going to be 3 steps. And it's already defaulted in the amount for my loan because it knows the page where I came from. It knows what I'm looking to do. So I click next. I put in 4 simple pieces of information, click next again. I add my social security number and my address, and that's it. I'm done. I've completed this application in less than a minute compared to that previous experience that left me with a very poor taste in my mouth. And this really goes back to that rule 3 of digital innovation. Innovate at the intersection of experience and operations. And this is what CUTX did. They looked at, what is the customer experience for applying for a loan, and how do we make that better, right? And obviously that this costs money. They had to put a platform in place. It's not an out-of-the-box vendor for online loan applications, but they knew that if they did it themselves and really focused on that customer experience, that their app drop-off rates are going to be much lower than the industry average, and that was true. Their app rates are much higher when it comes to completions and things like that. The other thing that they did that's extremely important is they invested in Salesforce. All of those leads, all those form fills are now going into Salesforce, where they're immediately assigned to a loan specialist that can follow up with a phone call, let them know the loan is approved, and figure out next steps. This is key. It doesn't have to be Salesforce, but it should be some CRM. It could be Salesforce, it could be 360 View, it could be Encino. Get the data somewhere so that you can continue that next piece of the conversation. The other key piece thing here is that now you can track. You can do A/B testing. You can figure out which forms are working, which aren't working. Maybe which forms and applications give you a high number of applications, but maybe the loans aren't approved, or maybe the loans aren't filled, and really start to look at what's the most efficient way to open new accounts within our organization. But unless you have that data and the platforms to support it, you really can't get there. So we talked about kind of needing that frictionless experience and engaging experience, but how do we define what that looks like? How do we figure that piece out? And before you can craft kind of that ideal journey, you need to know your customers. If Sandra and Ralph obviously walked into your branch today, you're not going to have the same conversation with them. You're not going to talk to Ralph about refinancing his school loans. You're not going to talk to Sandra about a money market product that's going to require $10,000, because you know that they're not at that point in their life, and that's not the next best product for them. So when we create personas, we really look at things like demographics. Obviously, how old are they? Did they go to school? Do they own a home? Things like that. But also their decision variables. What's their financial literacy? What are their digital competencies? What types of things motivate them? And then really look at what are their ideal digital experiences with us as a brand. So we know for someone like Sandra, she's probably never been in a branch, and she's probably maybe never even opened up an account. The account she has today, maybe her parents helped her open, and she doesn't know how to interact with a financial institution. We also know that her financial literacy is low, and she's weary of things like hidden fees and things she doesn't understand. So when we're interacting with her in any touch point, we know how to have those conversations. The next thing we like to do as part of this process is really lay out kind of the journeys that persona is going to take as they interact with your brand and open up a new account. So in the case of Sandra opening up her first auto loan, it's going to go through kind of an awareness engagement phase, education and consideration, and then hopefully, conversion in ongoing, interactions. But we take a deep look at each of these steps. We know with Sandra that her journey is going to start on her mobile device, probably on Google, searching for auto loans. So as far as our experience goes, we know we need to have obviously SEO rich content on our site so that organically we're showing up in her results. We know we want to complement that with some search engine marketing and some paid advertisements. Maybe we want to look at social channels to complement that and retarget and things like that. But we know we want to focus for that research phase. And then we know she's going to come and visit our site. It's going to have to work on mobile. We know she's going to learn more about this. So we know we want scannable content for account features and benefit information. We want things like FAQs so she can find information. We want calculators. And then finally, she's going to go through a comparison stage where she's going to want clear explanations of rates and fees. She's going to want comparison charts to see the different types of products and which ones might fit with her. Finally, she's going to go through an assessment and then ultimately apply. As part of that application process, again, there's a good chance she's on her mobile device. And if she ends up on that screen that I ended up on her mobile device, she's just not going to convert. It's not going to happen. It has to be an experience that's going to work on her phone and that's easy for her to do. And we know that from our research. From there, she's going to manage her account, again, using her mobile app, and then we're going to re-engage and hopefully grow her account. But what really comes out of this is essentially a content analysis for this persona. And we can take this and look at our existing website and say, do we have these types of content for each step of that journey? And do they work? Do they have the keywords we're going to need to pull Sandra in as she takes each step of that journey? And that's really getting to engaging and frictionless. So at this point, we've put platforms in place to become modern and relevant. We've got the content and personas and journeys in place to be engaging and frictionless. And the next step here really is that personalized and predictive experience, and it really builds on the first three. And when you think about personalized experiences, you think almost immediately to obviously Netflix and Amazon, and you've probably heard the stats. Amazon drives 35% of their business from product recommendations, so we know they work. Netflix content recommendations drive 75% of the content consumed. That could be in-app, it could be on mobile. They actually attribute $1 billion a year in savings because of their content recommendation model, because of the artificial intelligence. If you're watching movies because they recommended them, you're not going to stop paying $15 a month, and they don't have to go find a new user. So they're saving tons and tons of money because of their content recommendation engine. One of the other things, though, that Netflix has learned is that it's not just about the actual recommendation. So if they do all their data modeling and they say, okay, the next best video for Derek is Riverdale, they don't stop there. They also look at how am I classified based upon other engagements, and do I prefer rom-coms or prefer thrillers? And they know that which image they choose is going to dramatically increase my likelihood of clicking on that call to action. HubSpot, their own research has actually said the exact same thing, and they're seeing click-through rates of upwards of 20 to 30% higher based upon the imagery used. Coming back to financial services though, it's just as important as to us to personalize experiences as it is to Amazon and Netflix. According to the digital banking report last year, 73% of FinServ consumers expect special treatment for being a good customer. They expect that personalized and tailored experience from you as a credit union or bank. They've also said that 33% of customers who do abandon those business relationships have done so because personalization is lacking. So we have hard data to show that personalization and tailored experiences are not just expected, but they're required in order to keep our customers happy. And when we think about doing that from a banking perspective, you think back to that CUTX and Jeep example, that wasn't just a frictionless and engaging experience. It was obviously personalized for me. I came to the site and they knew I was in the market for an auto loan. I had been on autotrader.com. I had been on other car browsing sites. I clicked on campaigns for auto loans. I've looked at rates. I've performed searches. So if I've done all those things, you know I'm in the market for an auto loan. Show me a homepage ad for an auto loan. Don't show me, a generic ad for a checking account. On the flip side, if I've been on Expedia searching for destination islands, which I obviously haven't been doing lately, or I've been looking at cruises, or in my Southwest app looking at flights, I'm clearly thinking about going on vacation. So if you have that rewards credit card, show me the ad for that instead of the auto loan. And it's really looking at the person's persona and understanding what is the next best product for them and what's going to be the proper call to action for them. And a lot of times I think our banking clients understand the need for this and they understand the desire to do it and they want to do it, but it's really an overwhelming experience. Where do I start? Where am I going to personalize? Who am I personalizing for? What type of content do I need? What type of imagery do I need? And what we found is that by creating these content persona matrices, we've really made it much, much simpler. And all we're doing is taking the persona we want to personalize for, identifying, a primary and secondary product. It's identifying, where in the website we're going to get the best bang for our buck. It could be the homepage hero, it could be online banking hero, and then defining which piece of content we want for each of these. So for auto buying Anna, obviously the primary product's an auto loan. So on the homepage, let's show that auto picture. On that first CTA, let's show a loan comparison, and we'll do the same on online banking. Versus money planning Matt, obviously the primary product might be brokerage or wealth services. So let's show those types of items when he comes to the site. Okay, so we have our personas, we have our user journeys, we know which ads and promotions we want to push to specific people. Now we need the data to support it. And when we look at doing personalization within banking, there's really 3 types of data we can leverage to do this personalization effectively. The first is first-party data. This is the data that you already have on your members or customers, and you have a lot of data. You know what products they already own, you know what balances they have, you know if they have a mortgage, you know if they have auto loans, you know their affluence, you can see their shopping behavior through their debit card. You have tons and tons and tons of data on your customers that you can leverage for personalization, and that's considered first-party data. The second one is what we call second-party data, and second-party data is simply someone else's first-party data. So if I want to go to AutoTrader and buy their data from them and get a list of customers who have been on their site looking at auto loans, that would be considered second-party data, and you can actually buy that through different distribution channels. The last one is probably the most common, and it's called third-party data. And third-party data can be a little bit difficult to wrap your head around. And the way I like to think about it is it's gathered from your digital footprint. So if you're going to look at me in my digital footprint, I'm obviously I'm an IT professional, so I'm going online and I'm reading articles about data and artificial intelligence and data modeling and marketing and CDPs and all those types of stuff. On my phone, I'm using apps like Southwest because I travel a lot to go to client sites and do speaking engagements. If I open up YouTube, I might be looking at, soccer drills because I coach my kids' soccer teams. And Instagram, I'm following, funny meme accounts and outdoorsy and fitnessy type stuff. So that's my digital footprint. When you go to the third-party data provider, known as a DMP, I don't buy specific data. I'm not buying data saying this is Derek Barker, he's 41, he's C2 of Civil Tech, he makes X amount of dollars, he's got 2 kids, XYZ. What you're buying is the segments I fall into. So based upon the data that the DMP has on me, they know I fall into a IT professional segment. They know I fall into a soccer dad segment. They know I fall into a business traveler segment, fitness enthusiast, and all these types of things. And you can buy those segments that are relevant to you. So as a bank, I might be interested in the auto intender segment and the mortgage shopper segment and the commercial segments that matter to me as a bank. And then I can take all of this data, and this is where I really start to leverage it from a technology perspective. This goes back to selecting, when we're building our platform out, selecting a digital experience platform that's going to support personalization down the road. So even if in phase 1, we know we're not going to do personalization, but we want to get to it a year or 2 out, making sure we're putting the platforms in place that are going to support it. And there's a couple of different ways we can do this now once we have that data. If we do have that first party data in a data warehouse, we can also obviously run modeling on it, figure out what next best product is for certain people. We can segment people based upon affluence or age and push that segment information into our content management system. If we don't have that data and want to leverage, audience information, we can buy data from a DMP, get the segments that people fall into, and again, push that information into the content management system. On the first party data side, as soon as someone logs into online banking, I now know who they are and I can personalize based upon that first party data. If I don't have that online banking login, I can still leverage that anonymous segment information from my DMP to personalize based upon that. Once I have this built out, from a technical standpoint, it's actually very, very easy for me as a marketer to update it. So in this particular case, we're looking at the Progress Sitefinity CMS. I can very, very quite simply, as a marketer, come in, pick the persona or segment I want to personalize it for, and then it will let me change out imagery, let me change out calls to action, let me change out links and stuff like that. So once built, super, super easy to use and continue to maintain for the marketer. All right, so that was persona-based personalization, which is great. And if you're at that point, to be honest, you're far ahead of most of your peers in the industry. But after that is true, one-to-one personalization. It's that Amazon or Netflix model. What's the next best product for a specific person? And in banking, it really comes down to trying to connect your business goals and campaigns with the correct segment or audience that you're looking for. So if I'm trying to increase core deposits because our lending activity is up, I might have a campaign around a specific money market account. At that point, I can go to my first party data, I can mine it, I can analyze it and find all of the people that meet a certain specific profile. And then when they come to the site, I can show them the ad for that product. I can push out emails for that product. It's really about having that one-to-one relevant conversation for that person. And I think a lot of times we miss this fact and we get a little bit too generic in our marketing emails. And this is another example of that Jeep experience I had. After actually closing on that loan, a couple of weeks later, I got an email from that same institution about their great auto loans. These types of interactions just serve to frustrate your customers and your members. They obviously know that I have an auto loan because I closed the auto loan with them. So why are you sending me additional marketing on a product they already have? It just introduces more frustration into the process. On the flip side, if we're really mining our data and thinking about what type of people we want to target and target messaging to in the specific context of today, there's lots of good ways to do it. If you think about today's environment, obviously, all of us have many, many small businesses as customers. A lot of them may be struggling, and they might, not know that they're eligible for the Paycheck Protection Program. So how do we mine our internal data, identify the small businesses that do qualify for help, and then reach out to them specifically with, obviously, a emotional, sympathetic, and targeted and relevant email for them. And this is where stuff definitely gets more complicated, and you really need to rely on platforms and partners to help get you there. According to, again, the digital banking report, the average bank marketer is dealing with 18 different sources of data, which I'm sure isn't a surprise to any of you on the phone. And this could be everything from CRM, it could be marketing automation, it could be your data warehouse, it could be MCIF, it could be household data. But you have tons and tons of data that you don't really know what to do with. There's too much of it to manually look at and get insightful information from. And this is really where machine learning and artificial intelligence come into play. These tools can take this vast amount of data you have and spit out very, very valuable insights that you can then tie to the current promotions that you want to run, the product offers you want to make. And the nice thing about this is even 2 or 3 years ago, in order to do this type of thing, you would have had to have an internal data science team to build out your data models, to create the algorithms, to identify next best products, or to classify into different segments and things like that. But today, with platforms like Microsoft Azure, AWS, Google, that they've built the data models, they have the cloud-based computing. All you have to do is supply the data and have someone help you analyze the insights that are coming out and then tie those back to your promotions. And again, that's where the partnerships come into play. From here, we kind of extend that content persona matrix that we had in the last step, but obviously get much more specific with our targeting to get to that one-to-one level. So if we want to write that SBA PPP email, we look at our data, we identify small businesses with employees under 500, maybe the deposits are down, put them into a segment and target them with that email. Maybe we want to talk to our personal customers about mortgage relief. We can identify our customers that we know own a home, but maybe we've seen their payroll deposits drop off, and reach out to them with options for helping them through this difficult time. And that's really one-to-one banking. Once you've got there, again, you're really far ahead of the curve. But the next step would be conversational banking. And when we think about conversational banking, it's really about how do we interact with our customers and members through voice. Is there any reason one of my members can't say, Alexa, what is my checking account balance? Transfer $500 to savings, or Google, what do my investments look like? Siri, how much have I spent at restaurants this month? This isn't complicated things to do if you have the platforms and data in place to support it. One of the ones I think about a lot in this particular example is the way I have my account set up. I get paid into one account, and then I transfer money as needed into checking or debit and things like that. So inevitably, what happens to me is I'll be grocery shopping, I'll be in line, and I'll remember to check whether or not I actually have any money in my debit account before I get declined and get embarrassed. It would be really great if, as I'm walking into the grocery store, I could just say, hey Siri, make sure I have $400 in my debit account. And then Siri would go and check to see how much money's there. If I need money, transfer it over. If I don't, leave it alone. Everything's good. And that's really what conversational banking is about. It's about having those conversations where your customers want to have them, whether it's through a device like Siri or Alexa, or just in a different channel that they want to be on. A lot of times consumers today don't want to go into a branch. They don't want to have to call somebody. They'd much rather do things digitally, whether that be live chat on the website, whether it be Facebook messaging, whether it be text. That's where they want to have that conversation, and that's going to facilitate a much better experience for them. Another good example of that is, given the current environment, I'd like to increase my home equity line of credit just in case anything ever happens. It'd be nice to have that extra money there should I need it. However, my own credit union doesn't have any way for me to find out how to increase that line without calling. And as you all know, customer support lines on the phone are extremely long right now, and I don't want or have time to sit on the phone. Whereas if it was a chat bot or a live chat or text, it's something I could do asynchronously. As I'm working, I can send a message, check it later, and get what I want done. And that just can't happen. So in kind of wrapping up here, I'd be curious, of the people on the phone, we'd like to do another poll. Of these 5 steps, where in this process are you today? Where are you on this customer experience journey? All right. This is pretty much expected. Most people are in that kind of modern and relevant or engaging and frictionless area. Again, according to all the research, Financial Brand does lots of this research and publishes it on their site and in the magazines. And yeah, most of us want to do personalization and want to be at that point, but really aren't there yet. And we understand that. That's where kind of our approach really comes from. That's why we call it a crawl, walk, run, or fly approach to building your brand like the best. Why is my slide not moving? So we know that you want to be there, but it's not a simple process. So how do you start doing it today? And again, we talked about a lot of different things. Obviously, to get to that data analytics type of place, you're going to need partnerships and platforms in place. But before you can even get there, each and every one of us can look at, who are our personas? How are they using our website? What type of journeys do they need? Do we have the content ready for that? Once we've identified that, we can really start that walking process. How do we optimize those experiences to be a little bit more frictionless? And then from there, how do we be personalized and predictive? And when it comes to personalization, what we recommend is don't try and boil the ocean. Pick one use case, pick one campaign or one persona, and try that and see if it works. Maybe if auto loans are a big part of your business, maybe you do that. Maybe you buy some segments or look at your internal data and personalize just the homepage here of your banner. That works well, great, move on from there. Another big one is a lot of our clients want to expand their wealth services. So it's very easy to look at your internal data and identify existing customers who would be good wealth customers. So a good prototype or proof of concept is identify 500 of those people and do a personalized email campaign. Or when they come to the site to log into online banking, show them that customized hero banner. And then once you're there, then you can really start to dial it up. You've got the platforms in place, you've got the data in place, you've got the artificial intelligence in place, and now you can really start to fly. And with that, I think did we have one more poll before we get to questions? Oh yeah, this is just part of more information. But if you did have questions, be happy to take them if you want to put them into the little questions box in your console.
Okay, great. Thank you, Derek. Once again, this is Amber with the Financial Brand. I'm going to pop in with a couple of questions for Derek today. So if you guys have questions, we have just a few more minutes. So if you want to get anything in there, if for some reason we don't get to the questions today, somebody from the SilverTech team will respond to you individually if your question did not get answered. So Derek, if you're ready, I'm going to go ahead and start with a couple questions from our audience.
Yep.
Okay, so this first one, if I'm starting a new website project, can I realistically go right to personalized banking?
Okay, good question. Yes. If you're starting a brand new project, then yes, it's absolutely possible. That CUTX example I used early on, they were doing a website redesign and knew they wanted to do personalization ahead of time. Obviously, it's more work. So budgets and timelines depend on being able to do all of that stuff, but it is absolutely possible to do it all at once. And I mean, over the long term, you probably save money that way as well. That said, it's just as easy to phase it in as well. We can build the website with personalization in mind, get it out in a quick timetable, and then add personalization as an easy quick follow.
Okay, great. So this question, if it's too much to answer on the webinar, I'm sure you can get back with the asker of the question, but I think you probably have some good insight. So this question comes from someone who says they're a UX UI designer for a digital solution provider for banks. They don't have direct influence over marketing and product offering. Do you have any tips on how we could add value from the digital application itself?
From the digital application itself. Okay, this is an interesting one because I guess without knowing what the application is, it's hard to say. But for the sake of argument, say they're a vendor that provides online account openings. So in this case, yeah, there's tons of ways to help. It's building the solution in a way that is easy to style the experience. It's easy to embed analytics so we can track how things are working and stuff like that. Again, I'm not sure if that really answers the question, and I can follow up with them specifically. But yeah, as a vendor that's making products for banks, they have a ton of ability to make this process better.
Okay, great. Okay, here's another one. This may be a little bit vague, but how long do these types of projects typically take?
Another good question. It really depends on how deep we want to go, and honestly, a lot of times it's how fast can you as a financial services institution move. A lot of times there's lots of approval processes for designs and security sign-offs and things like that. But a new banking website ready for personalization could be 4 to 6 months. A full personalization strategy with integrations for data warehouse and stuff like that could be 8 to 12 months. But again, it really depends on how fast can you pull your data together, can you pull your content together, and things like that. To be honest, the technology is pretty easy.
Okay, great. Here's another good one. Do your customers usually have access to their first-party data?
Yes, that is a good one. Yes and no. I'd say it's probably 50-50. I think a lot of the credit unions and banks we deal with today have projects in place where they're repurposing existing teams or hiring, business intelligence teams to start to look at how to create data warehouses and stuff like that. But a lot of them aren't quite there yet. The data lives somewhere, but how to get access to it hasn't really been well defined internally. And a lot of times what we'll do is go in and say, okay, let's identify some sources of data. Maybe it's exports from online banking, maybe it's exports from your core, and what pieces of information can we get access to that obviously comply with your internal information security guidelines and stuff like that, and how do we build those data warehouses out for you? I think another key here is that security piece of it. A lot of times security around that data is a primary concern, right? So what we like to do is do a lot of that data modeling internally or in a dedicated cloud like Azure, and then just take the specific insights out and feed those to the website. So the only thing the website has is a customer ID and maybe a targeted promotion or a persona. And that way, if there ever was a security breach on the website, there's really no personal information on the website. It's just IDs and personas.
Okay, great. I think that is all the questions we have from our live audience today. So Derek, I'm going to give it to you to sort of send us off for the afternoon.
Awesome. Thank you all very much for attending. If you have any additional questions, really feel free to reach out to me directly. My email address is right there. If you'd like if you'd like some more information on a couple of the examples we talked about today, we have links to a few case studies right there. But again, feel free to reach out and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thanks for taking your time today.